comment on my lived experience of prison, actually to the topic how a middle-class white boy ends up in jail and why I went back. So essentially the reason why I did end up in prison was heroin addiction, I would say. So criminalisation of my substance abuse issue. I ended up robbing a corner store on Boxing Day in 1999 and accidentally stabbing the shopkeeper with a dirty syringe, and I was sentenced to 4 years of prison. So that's what got me there. I move along pretty quickly. Forgive me, this is my first one of these. So that's my 23rd birthday. I think it was about 2 weeks after that, I'd just flown back from London to get some heroin in Cabramatta, because that was where the good heroin was. And about 2 weeks after that, I entered my first rehab, like drug and alcohol. And within the next 18 months, I was in and out of rehab. I think it was 22 admissions. That middle picture is Parramatta Jail, the showers. So I don't know how many are held when it was open, but that's probably the lowest place I've ever been in my life. You used to have to run to the showers in the morning, and people, that'd be like 10 deep, all lined up to have a shower, and there was 10 minutes of hot water. So you'd just be like bustling to get a hot shower, or just everyone milled around and watched. That was, yeah, I spent 2 weeks there. It was hell. Cockroaches were massive. It was just the most disgusting place I've ever been in my life. That is up at ANZSOC, and as you can probably tell, I'm the only white guy there in the middle, which probably speaks a bit to what Mark was talking. It was really good to hear you, mate. I'd love to talk to you afterwards about a lot of stuff. But so yeah, I've done the vast majority of my time really easy, like as a deterrent, prison, and that there was no deterrent. I smoked pot every day. I was at ANZSOC, I had a C3, I was going in and out, I was bringing drugs in and out, and I was doing all sorts of stuff. So I had a bit of clout and status in that space because I could do stuff like that. So there was no issue for me around that sort of, you know, my first day in prison was hell. It was, so I spent 3 days down in Wollongong Hill, but then I went, and it was the Millennium and New Year's Eve, and I arrived at Silverwater, and it was in the dry cells, and I hadn't had my methadone for 5 days, and I remember waking up and just, it was like absolutely hell, and I thought I was going to spend the whole of my prison sentence in this place. If I would have spent my whole sentence there, there's no way I would have gone back. Even if I'd spent another 2 days there, there's no way I would have. And I didn't go back, but that would have been a deterrent. Like the shorter the sentence, you know, if you could sentence someone to 2 weeks, you know, probably not the high profile cases, but you know, people in my sort of space, that was a deterrent for me. It was like hell. I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, the further I went along, the easier it got. And the more connected I become, and the more I knew how to negotiate my way around, and I was just comfortable, like, yeah. So, I think Mark sort of, I'm trying not to overlap a lot of what you said. So often for a lot of people, and what a lot of people don't realise, the worst day in prison is the day you get released. Because if you're going home and your mum's dealing drugs, or you know, selling herself on the street, your dad's dealing drugs, or he's throwing you through the window to, you know, do break and enters and all that sort of stuff. Like, most people don't want to go back to that. It's really safe and comfortable in prison. I've just done all this time, I've got a TV, I've got a jug, I've got my own doona. Like, why do I want to throw that all away and go and live with some strangers that I haven't lived with for a while? And that process, and I'm working with this guy that's just, at the moment, just finished 18, and he's just like, this is just another world. I don't know what's going on. So no mobile phones when he went in, all this sort of stuff. His brain, you can almost see it sort of fragmenting as we engage. He's a week out, and he said it feels like it's been 4 months. He just can't keep up with the pace. Like, if you ever work with prisoners or people that have been in prison, 2:30, nothing gets done after 2:30 because that's lock-in. Everyone goes around and you just don't set appointments after 2:30. That's what I've learned, because still today, you know, I got released in 2001, still today, I crave, like when I'm at home, I've got 3 kids and a wife, and when I'm at home, I just think, I just wish someone had locked me in 3:30, done with it. And I'm probably sure there's other people in the audience, but I've had that experience of just being locked in a cell and no one's going to talk to me, and I won't have to interact with anyone ever again. So I still crave that today, 20 years later. I still think, that'd be a good idea, with, you know, a couple of cones and a 3:30 locking. You know, and to talk to Mark, so, you know, when someone doesn't, you know, the focus that the individual is the problem is just so far skewed from what I've learned and what I've gone on to do. So I went back and started, you know, I got out and I got arrested on the last day of my parole, and I made the break and didn't have to go back to prison, forcibly anyway. So I decided that, you know, I had a successful route, 12 years in real estate, and I was doing well, and I had a friend get out and I seen the injustices that were visited upon him, like the struggle that he had to get back into society and participate in community, and the barriers. So I thought, I'm going to go back and I'm going to change the system. Yeah, and I applied for a job with corrective services on the recommendation of people that I had been working with that were working in corrective services. And anyway, I felt like there was discrimination, and the guy rang me and he said, mate, you were by far and away the best interview candidate that we had, but when I type your name into the system, you come up as an unsatisfactory person. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And he was like, to tell you the truth, I don't know, that's above my pay grade. And I went all the way up, and in 3 years at the Human Rights Commission, it turned out to be a clerical error. And they offered me a job, and I said I wouldn't work for anyone that's treated me like that, so thank you very much. And then, you know, have gone on to work for other organisations and sort of work around that space, which is, you know, I'm still trying to work out where I sit around abolition and all. You know, I started out as a reformer, but now I'm probably leaning to abolition at the moment. I don't know what that looks like. You know, you let everything fall down, and you know, they call people like me that work in the correctional environment care bears. So it's all the care bears that go in and do the heavy lifting and the work that you know, corrections leverage. You know, that's just my opinion. But yeah, so I've decided, you know, I've gone on and I've diploma in community services, I've got a graduate certificate in therapy and all of that sort of stuff. So I've decided to just work on myself and improve myself and learn how to improve myself, to then show others how to do that, similar to what was talked about. So something that I really like is, you know, I just come across this area, just doing the work is, you know, restoration practice. So the fundamental premise of restorative practices is that people are happier, more cooperative and productive, and more likely to make positive changes when those in authority do things with them rather than to them or for them. And I was lucky enough, so ultimately the reason why so when I decided I wanted to go back, I wanted to write a program for men getting out of prison, and I was lucky enough to get to that point and working for an organisation doing that, and you know, come so close. And it wasn't sort of, I wasn't able to do the exact program that I liked. It was a job readiness program, which, you know, going in and working in these spaces, the educators that I relied on to refer the people to me, they were like, what are you doing there? Like, 'cause I've never seen guys turn up just really wanting to go to these groups and classes. So what do you talk about? And I said, I just tell them the truth. I'd go in there and I'd ask them what they want. But that's just such an unforeign question in that space. Like, what do you want? How can I help you? And I'd say, look, mate, what had happened usually in the first group was they'd turn up and they'd go, can you get me a house? No, I can't get you a house. Can you get me a house? No, I can't get you a house. oh, so-and-so said you can get houses. I can't get houses. So that was just, it was just like, and so I'd just be really honest, I was, I'm not going to help you, I can't do that. I'm really clear around the boundaries and perimeters that I could work in and develop trust and ask what are you, okay, you're interested in this, I'll bring some of that next week. So, and then building those relationships that they would trust me because I'd bring stuff in that they asked for. Which, you know, they asked for stuff. Like I remember when I was in prison and there's, I don't know, you have to fill out a blue form if you want fucking anything. So, oh yeah, fill out a bluey. So you fill it out, and I remember just handing one to an officer and just watching him just put it through the fax machine. The shredder. I was just like, okay, yeah, I've learned that lesson now. I won't be putting another bluey in. So yeah, okay. What I have learned as a result of all of this stuff, I don't know how much time I have.
You've still got about 9-10 minutes.
Okay,
you're right. You're doing good.
Perfect. So what I've learned is that a community problem requires a community solution. And when we attempt to punish one, we punish many. If we want different outcomes, we need to have different methods and different practices. Because what we're doing now, and this is, you know, again, my opinion, what happens now and what people are doing now is just self-perpetuating. You know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's like, it's as simple as that. So the stigmatization, the labeling, and the inhibitive process that has, you know, me as sitting in the most privileged cohort in the world, a white man, the difficulty I've had, I still can't get a job or get access to employment that will adequately be able to support my family because I've got a criminal record. 20 years, I still get judged on the worst mistake I've made in my life for 20 years. So like if you think about that, think about a mistake that you've made and then everything that I filter about you is through that. But the way that we think about that sort of stuff, it's just insane. What I've learned is how many different ways I can be punished. Like when does the punishment end? When does it, like truth in sentencing? I'd love truth in sentencing because 4 years would have ended a long time ago and I'd be out in the world and I'd be doing stuff. So the ability to get back into the community and participate in the community, I don't know if it's so much about the family, it's like, well, fuck, what am I going to do? Oh, you can be a janitor. Oh, you know, like, you know, just be happy that you've got a job, mate. I don't want to be happy that I've got a job. I want to do something that gives me hope and passion. And something that, you know, will, I didn't know what that was when I got out of prison. Trust me, I was disillusioned, angry, and like I was an angry individual when I got out of prison, really angry, and it took about 2.5 years. And I had access to everything. You know, my parents are still together, still married. That sort of stuff, like, and I, you know, therapy and counselling and all that sort of stuff, I had access to that. And I still today find it difficult. I still can't wash that off because that's how people see me. I'm a criminal. I don't have criminogenic needs. I'm a human and I have human needs. And I need to have my capacity increased. And I need to be invited in to have my capacity increased. Not, here's what you need to do, go and do fucking equips or whatever shit program you got for me. Like, the idea that there's going to be one silver bullet that's going to solve this sort of problem, it's just delusional. Like everyone's, you know, I feel like there needs to be a collaboration in the sort of community sector, a peak body around prison and, you know, the application of whatever it looks like, but to talk about, like, you know, this works and it really works for a cohort over here and this works and it really works. What people seem to tend to do, and I don't understand why all of the faith-based organisations get shit tons of money when they've got shit tons of money. It's just mind-blowing. Yeah, so, you know, they like to just go, oh, that really works, let's just throw all our money in that area. It's like, well, it's not going to work for me. Like, what works for me? So having those conversations, how can I help you? What can I do? And, you know, like I've got a daughter, both parents have been in prison and there's stories that I won't go into, but just, you know, understanding that and then sort of seeing her she's 16, she's starting to step into that space of, and she's not aware that I've been in prison. She's aware her mum's been in prison because her mum's been in and out of prison and still is. But that, yeah, it scares me. It's like, what do I do? And I know that I'd happily outsource it to prison as a, like, fuck, what can I do? I'm, you know, pulling my hair out. But I believe that, you know, as I said at the start, it's a community problem. And I need to put in, and you need to put in. Look, that's what needs to happen. It's not about, oh yeah, it's a community problem and I'm just going to do some good over here. This requires effort and connection and participation before people get to prison. That's how it's going to stop. Like, that would lead to abolition. Like, trying to punish people for society, like, it's a symptom of a society. It's a symptom of our society and what we've created, these individuals, you know. And it's, you know, I met with the head of Facts and Corrections, and I said, mate, the system's broken, it's fucked. And he goes, I know, I don't know what to do. So, like, that in and above itself, it's just like, if people in my space and what I do, working with people and supporting people exiting prison, if we stepped away and just let prison fall over, something new can be built. However, you know, I'm constantly filtering, am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? So if I'm going in and I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing all this work and Johnny loves me because I've gone in and I'm blah, 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 it's like, well, actually, am I helping the current model to keep going as it is, or am I going to step out of that space? And it's quite confronting to think about that. Because ultimately, I'd love to be put out of a job. Like, I've gone to a few organisations, like, what would you do if I come in and I said, I've got a really good idea, in 2 years' time, I'll halve your business, and in 5, I'll put you totally out of business. So, like, where's the incentive for prison to close? Not that I'm saying that that's what should be, but like, when I, you know, private prisons and practices like that, when you go in and you talk to them, it's like, yeah, I've got all these good ideas around how I can shut you down. People are like, mate, I don't want to lose my job, which is fair enough, and I understand why they wouldn't want to lose their job, but the way that I see it now, and just from talking to the person I'm supporting at the moment that's got out and has, you know, done almost 20 years in prison, the changes that he's seen in that environment is, like, it's run by crickets. If you don't go to work, I'm talking New South Wales, I don't know about other states because that's the only state that I'm in working. If you don't go to work, you get locked in. So it's a slave labour camp. Where can anyone else? So they're giving this illusion that all these guys are getting skills because they're going to work. However, what companies can compete in the marketplace where they can get labour for $2.65 an hour? Can't even do that in China. So, like, the illusion that the skills that they're doing and getting in the prison, and then we'll be able to transfer them outside, it's just, like, ridiculous. Because there's no organisations outside that can employ them to compete at $2.65 an hour. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, I'm quite passionate about it, as you can probably tell. But yeah, and I don't know if this, what I feel like is, as sectors and organisations, and there needs to be collaboration, you know, there needs to be money and access for everybody to come in, and I don't know how that looks or what it looks like. You know, I've got ideas on how I'd run a program and what I do, but you know, that's not going to fit everybody. You know, it's not going to be a solution for everybody, and that's why, you know, like, I've been around and there was, you know, I don't know if there is still a movement, but there was a like, oh, lived experience, we need as much lived experience. It's like, yeah, you need lived experience, but we need everybody. This is an everybody thing. It's not a like, oh, I know better than you because I've been there. It's like, no, you've got really valuable information that I can access and use, and I can get access to information that you probably can't. So coming together and collaborating around this, and then stepping up and taking responsibility for the shitstorm that we've participated in and created. Like, we can vote for different politicians and we can make them change the laws. That's democracy. So am I complicit? You know, am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution? So, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that I really have to cover off on, but Yeah, just around it. I'm constantly learning more about this, and I'm constantly evolving, and I just want to constantly learn more. So if there's any questions or you want to talk about anything, please, I'll be around for the next couple of days. I'm really excited to talk to a few people that I've only just said. I landed probably an hour ago. So yeah, I'm really excited to learn more and hear more, and that will do me. Thank you.